for you, Sean, and we're going to kind of dive into a topic that's now become something that you maybe didn't imagine once you retired from the military. How are you, Sean?
I'm doing great, Neil. Thanks for having me on again.
On our topic today is entrepreneurship after service, starting your own business as a veteran. So let's dive into this, Sean. And know you're start, I guess, with the podcast, the foundation. That's definitely it. But you really never in your million years thought you go entrepreneurship right after the military. Thought you just gonna work a job.
It wasn't on my radar or something I was planning on doing. That's for sure. But I would also say at the same time, I've always sort of had the entrepreneurial bug. When I was 16, my neighbor and I started our own DJ company and doing some like school dances and stuff like that. So the idea of doing stuff like that has always been there. I started my college career as a business major, was always fascinated with it. So I would say it's not foreign, but it's definitely not something that I was 100% counting on doing once I got out.
Yeah, so let's dive deeper in this, and this is where I want to look at is specifically what did you do when you started to think about starting, first of all, the podcast? It came out of nowhere, the ideas for the podcast, right? Because I met you in once you already were thriving with one podcast. Somehow now you got three podcasts. So, and it's growing even further. And we were talking about how we're making this segment going to be more and more about just highlighting Sean Welsh and where we're going in so many different areas. But that's that mindset. But let's kind of talk about when you first, retired from the military, you came up with this idea to do a podcast. And how did that process begin in your brainstorming and everything?
So the podcast all started with the word no. A mentor of mine reached out. I was still doing my transition. I was about 6 months into my transition. I was starting to do a lot of things on LinkedIn, and he was one of my early mentors. And he said, "You got to do a podcast." I'm like, "No, I don't. I don't have to do one at all." And it wasn't something I was even thinking about doing. And as we continued to talk, after a couple of months of him continuously telling me, "Man, you got to do this. There's a whole lot of benefits to doing it," and so the idea sat there and really started to cultivate. So we started it, and it all started as a passion project. It was never any intent that it was going to be a business. I didn't even know if we are going to make it past 2 episodes. So we started it, and we're closing in on 150 episodes, 3 years. We're having a blast. We got a great team around us. Now we have three shows. We got three more we're working on for this year. So we're going to have about 6 shows coming out under the Vet SOS name, and all dealing with the transition space. So we're very excited about that. And then, of course, you got the whole transition into a nonprofit and working on this web-based recording platform so we can capture every story for transition from spouses and veterans. So I'll tell you, 3 years ago, this is not what I was thinking. So it's been a wild journey, and I owe all of it to mentors and people I've worked with because they keep coming up with these great ideas, and our conversations spawn these ideas, and it's just been a fantastic ride.
You think about that mentorship. That's such a great point you're talking about with the whole mentorship and with podcasting and different things. You learn so many new things, and it's a lifelong journey as an entrepreneur, and you constantly will learn. I've learned this in 20 plus years as an entrepreneur. Man, what I learned today, I better not come into the table tomorrow and think I got it because something else is going to change.
Oh, absolutely, especially with AI now. But like SEO, 3 years ago, I couldn't tell you what SEO meant or what it did or why I should do it. And now, I'm trying to pay attention a little bit more to that kind of thing. Now we have a brand that's trusted. People know what we're trying to do in educating them, and they know that, the products that we're trying to bring forward, we're trying to bring quality and have some fun with it and really educate the community. So now you start thinking about protecting the brand and making sure that, we everything we do stays on brand, and there's no confusion and muddy in that water. And so there's all kinds of things you got to start thinking about and changing. But it's really fun to sit back and think about this little idea, kind of, as a parent, kind of like a child, right? You have this little idea that's born, and you watch it grow, and it's just the proud daddy moments and stuff like that every time we reach another milestone and someone else says they want to be a part of the team, and you're just like, man, this is awesome.
Entrepreneurship is truly, and this is my whole thought process, is it doesn't feel like work. And ultimately, every day, I had somebody the other day coming in to work on my house, and he basically said, "This is what you do. You sit at a table and you talk to people, and you do work, and you would work in wherever you want to work." And I'm like, "Yeah." And it's that's going to not be a reality for a lot of people, and I feel bad for them because I think that working from home is going to have to be, but we're going to see a lot of people going back to the workplace, and I don't agree with it because I believe that you can have productivity wherever you work, and if you feel comfortable wasting all that time on commute and everything. But if you choose to be an entrepreneur, you're going to work a lot more hours, but it's not going to feel like work. And when people define it as work that aren't entrepreneurs, they have no idea.
I, I would agree with you. I would say 95%. And the 5% I wouldn't agree is stuff that I don't know. So trying to figure out how to do something and all that. And, a lot of this stuff, the technical side of it is way out of my comfort zone. So sometimes it does, you know, feel like work sometimes, but that's a very small percentage. And the best part is there's so many people out there that are willing to help and teach and guide and mentor that I don't have to be stuck. I can reach out and say, "Hey, man, I'm trying to do this. What do what am I doing wrong?" And they'll try to help me a little bit and let me play with it and figure it out. But yeah, I agree with you. If you can figure out, and even if you just have a regular job, you don't do entrepreneurship. If you can find something you truly love to do, it hardly feels like work. And those days where you just enjoy what you're doing, whatever that may be. And I hope everybody has the opportunity to find out whatever it may be.
And this is where the process begins to find a mentor, find a coach, find somebody when you first start. I didn't. I wish I did. At one point, I want to have time because I do have the connections to get somebody that's a lot better off than me to be my mentor. But ultimately, I got to get my stuff together. And that means working in the business versus working on the business. The process is, even if you do find somebody, entrepreneurship is hit and miss. It is like going to the blackjack tables. It is like I got to take some of these for shorts for sure. It's like going to the blackjack tables. It's like going and gambling on sports, but the bottom line is you win more than those things, but you're going to lose some.
Oh yeah.
And that's the thing. You can work a job every day and almost work a perfect job, but entrepreneurship will never be a perfect thing.
Oh, it can be messy. It can be real messy. And like with what I'm trying to do here with my team, with the podcast and everything, there's a lot of things that I could do differently to help grow the following and build, become this huge influencer, that kind of stuff and everything. But that's not what I'm interested in. And to me, that staying true to what we originally wanted to be and truly trying to help service members as they transition and spouses as they go through the transition with their service member, that is what's most important to us. So that there's some things that we haven't been willing to do so far, and hopefully in the long run, people respect the fact that that's the decision we made, but ultimately we're proud of what we're doing. And that just makes it all the more special.
Right. And the last advice when things get down, and I'm sure you have those times as an entrepreneur because it's a highs and lows. What advice do you offer other people trying to start something new to not quit?
That there are two things that I fully believe in, especially when it comes to entrepreneurship, and that is one, don't try to do it alone. Find yourself a mentor, find a coach, find people who've been there before that can help you avoid some of those pitfalls. And that's one of the reasons we started the entrepreneurial spotlight, so you can learn from people who have made those mistakes and learn what resources they used. And the other thing is understanding that growth comes in failure, and it's okay to fail. Don't dwell in it, learn from it, analyze it, figure out what went wrong, figure out what you have to change, grow and keep moving forward, and don't let that stop you. Because if you truly want to be an entrepreneur, don't give up on that dream. It is amazing, and it's something that is just going to be so fulfilling. Then like you said, it's going to be a lot of work, but you're going to feel amazing.
All right, best vet SOS podcast.org, right? Or com.
.com.
Com.
.com.
I see you're good because of the podcast.
Yep.
We have to figure out buy that next vet SOS. Appreciate it, Sean. Thanks again, man.
All right.